We come to our next hypnotic induction, the hypnotic touch induction, but it's I just tell you that it exists because to use this hypnotic touch induction we need the hypnotic areas, the hypnotic points at the body, and these hypnogenic or hypnotic points will be taught in the next lesson of this course. And so we will come back to it later, but it's important to know you just can say to your client, please sit down, lie down, and then you close your eyes, and then you begin touching these special points, and only the stimulation of these points leads them into a trance state. But please always remember, always ask your client for permission to touch him or her. Very important. Okay? And this brings us to the next part of the non-verbal inductions, the drop-back inductions. Drop-back inductions are very, very powerful because we use the moment when people fall backwards, the brain needs a new orientation, and we give them the new orientation. The new orientation is trance or hypnosis. But please make sure that you use these drop-back inductions only when you are strong enough to catch your client, or the best excuse me, the best way would be that you have two assistants who help you to catch your client or catch the person. And now we start with technique 1, the classical postural sway, and watch now in the video. Feet together, please, and look at the tips of my fingers. And an invisible force is pulling you back. A very, very important thing about this induction is that don't be too fast. The most common mistake by using this induction is that people are too fast. They do it like this. Slowly, very, very slowly, come near and near, slow, and they follow, and they have to drop back. And we come to the next technique, technique number 2, the energetic vacuum. Feet together, please, and close your eyes. You feel an invisible force pulling you backwards. The next technique is the hands removal technique, and it's very easy when your hands are on the shoulders of your clients and you start to remove it very slowly. Don't really remove it, just pull them a little bit back, and then the client will follow you back, and then when the body of the client follows you backwards, you just say an invisible force is pulling you backward. Okay. Just look at the point in front of you. Then close your eyes. Now you feel an invisible force pulling you backwards. Technique number 1, the classical or the classic postural sway does also work out of the sitting position, as you see now. Please look at the tips of my fingers. You feel an invisible force pulling you back. And technique number 6 is a hands removal from the sitting position, and you can also watch it on the video. Please look into my left eye. Your eyelids are getting heavier and heavier and your eyes want to close. Now an invisible force is pulling you backwards. The next part of our non-verbal inductions, the next non-verbal induction is a mental induction, because hypnosis can be induced mentally, only mentally, without any words, without any movement or touch. I'm going to show you in the video. Okay, please choose a point at the wall in front of you. Look at this point and close your eyes. Okay, now you've seen 2 mental inductions. First is that you just imagine that an invisible force is pulling your client backwards and then you catch him. And the second is you imagine that you have a rope that pulls him back and he will also fall backwards. Another old technique is the classic fixation. I'm sure you know the fixation hypnosis. Look at the bright object at the tips of my finger, at the whatever. The fixation, but the original fixation method worked like this. I'm going to show you in the video. It's a very short induction. You start with the fixation and then you come direct to eyelid catalepsy, and then you have a trance that you can work with, but just watch the video and you will understand what I mean. Okay, please look at the light there at the ceiling, and now your eyelids are getting heavier and heavier, the eyes want to close, heavier and heavier, the eyes want to close, and they close, very tightly closed, very, very tightly. They close so tightly, if you would try to open your eyes, you cannot open them. Try to open your eyes, you cannot open your eyes. They stay shut, okay, very good. And now a short secret how to make your work much more powerful. Combine these techniques. Start with maybe the instant rapport technique, then to the hypnotic fascination technique, then you use a drop back induction, then you do the passes, mesmeristic passes, and maybe then the hypnotic touches. You will see you get people in such deep trance states you've never had them before. Okay, and this leads us to our next lesson, lesson number 5, deep trance and self-healing state induced without words. See you in the next lesson.